the wallpaper, that can really hurt you if it's a really old house on plaster. And you can see here, I may have pulled that down a little because some was already missing, but to see if that comes off easy or not, whether or not you can kind of get a fingernail at a seam or something, but just don't let that be something that you go, the whole house is wallpapered, no problem. We'll tear that up. You may have just cost yourself anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 if you cannot. So I have seen contingencies that investors have used just to say, hey, I'd really like to get my painter in there and just do a couple of test areas to see what it's going to take to get this wallpaper off, because that really could hurt you.
All right, guys, here we go now. It is time to unlock more doors to deals. We're real estate investors here. We're real estate agents here, and we all have one thing in common. We believe that we can live the life of our purpose. We can create financial freedom. We can build a better life for those that we love, and we can live the life of our dreams. I don't care if you're trying to do your first deal or your 500th this year. You can get to the next level, and we're here to help. Welcome to Doors to Deals. I'm your host and founder, Jim Manning. Today's episode can be found on doorstodeals.com/034. Today we have none other than Matt Hedstrom back on for another bonus episode on calculating repairs. Matt's with Rehab Estimator Pro, and he is a wealth of knowledge on the subject, and the repairs guys and the ARV are two critical numbers that you really want to be accurate at and phenomenal at when you're investing in real estate to make sure that you're getting profitable deals and investing the right way. So we can't do this. We can't have Matt out enough because it's so important for you to get good at this skill. So before we get going on this housekeeping item, if you are local to St. Louis and you're investing in real estate, we have two phenomenal resources to help you do more deals. 3doorsfunding.com can get you access to over $20 million of cash that you can do deals right here in St. Louis. All you have to do is go to 3doorsfunding.com to fill out an application to get approved. If you're a wholesaler, email us at deals@3doors.com with your properties. We have an entire sales force that's built relationships with exclusive buyers that can pay top dollars for properties. Our buyers are all vetted and approved by 3 Doors Funding, so you can be certain that these buyers have the money to close on your deal. And so anyway, you'll be able to leverage our sales team, get top dollar for your deals in way less time than you can on your own. We can also even put together deals that you might think are dead. So all you have to do is email over your properties to deals@3doors.com to get started. And finally, for the agents that are listening in, it doesn't matter where you live. Over the past year, we've sold over $60 million in real estate by attracting the right relationships to us. We have a challenge that we're going to show you how to create 5 key relationships for your business that will generate you $5 million in sales every single year like clockwork. So all you have to do is go to doors2deals.com/034 for more information and to sign up for our challenge. All right, guys, no more talk from me. Here's the interview. All right, so Matt, we have some new people on. So this is for those of you that are newer, this is actually Matt's third time on, and he's a good buddy of mine. And why don't we just give like a quick little 2-minute recap on like who you are for, because we have a couple new people on the call today.
No problem. I'm up in Wisconsin, basically situated right between Milwaukee and Chicago. So just in that bottom corner of Wisconsin. And I have several businesses just kind of all centric around real estate. And, as it goes with, people who've been in this, if you're in it long enough, you really do end up, finding different revenue streams. We all start doing deals and then we see holes in the business, right? And for me, one of those big holes was with rehab estimating. And I've been a contractor for over 22 years. And, it's like, that's easy for me to do. I can walk into any house and put numbers together. So that's what I do. And that's for others. How do you train it? My question became, how do I scale my short sale business? Because that's how I started to where I can send out agents and I can send out my bookkeeper even to estimate repair costs, so that there's nothing out there. There's no tools available. There's all the tools tell you to input, put your own inputs in. Here's 4,000 line items that you can put pricing next to, and then that'll be your basis, and it's like, I don't need people to identify what needs to be. I need people to, I need help to quickly evaluate numbers that I can trust, that wholesalers are trustworthy, selling properties. My private money lenders trust my numbers, that my contractors let me do this without bringing them to every deal. I can't bring my contractor to 20 deals I'm looking at and I only get one of them. So that's really how I filled that hole for myself. And then once others started seeing it and asking, it just kind of developed into another business to say, okay, and now we've got users in all 50 states. And, this is not my full time. I do deals, man. I'm in houses. So this isn't something that I'm pushy with. I try to equip people with the right tools in the business. So, that's kind of where I started. That's where I am today.
Yeah. So really quick on this, guys, too, with the repairs, like for some people that are kind of starting out, I had a big problem. I was really worried about like getting the repairs really accurately. And if you are newer, know that you can protect yourself, writing in an inspection contingency, and then getting your contractor out there to verify your repairs. There's actually very little risk on getting the repairs wrong and getting a house under contract, as long as you have that inspection contingency in there. So don't let fear stop you from doing this. Don't let fear stop you from writing offers. And Matt has a really good system on how to do it quickly and get pretty darn accurate. I mean, repairs as well. But when you're new, you may have missed something, and that's okay. Just protect yourself and you'll be okay.
Right. Yeah. And it's not just missing something too, man. And because we still do that, right? You still do that. I still do that. But it comes down to, there's just a general like, what are the values? How do you know? Are you gonna? You can't take a weekend course and understand costs. So that's what we've tried to make very easy. Something, numbers that you can trust right out of the gate without having been in the business. You can teach anybody how to do after repair value, right? That's pretty simple. When it comes to repairs, you can't screw this up. ARV and repair costs are your two basic pieces that you can't screw up.
Absolutely. So, and everything hinges on that, right? It hinges what your offer price is going to be, you name it. So, yep. So I think you kind of brought a few pictures that we can kind of dive deep into, as far as just some repairs and just kind of talk shop, because any chance I have to glean, is that even the right word? Any chance I get
it works, man. I like it.
Any chance I get to glean, we'll try that out. Matt's knowledge with the over 20 plus years of a contractor, I want to take advantage of it as much as I can, because I'm lucky if I screw a nail in right. Like I am like one of the least handy individuals that you'll ever meet. So I love talking with you and talking shop, man. So you brought some kind of pictures and just kind of wanted to talk some shop on some repair items that we may want to be aware of. So
yeah, man. Yep. So I'll tell you what, give me, if you can get me screen sharing, then I'll start putting that. But I wanted to, I've just got a hodgepodge of pictures. I did not organize them into, hey, here's electrical, here's this, here's that. But I want you to see through my eyes. If that's, I think that will bring the most value.
Yeah. If you can teach us how to think like a contractor and like what you see, that's the most important. No.
Right. And so I'll give you some, glaringly obvious and some things that, hey, look, as far as main components and how you're seeing a house, I want you to just kind of look through my eyes today as a GC walking into a house and things that it's okay to, just say, yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to, so many times, and I have students too that we watch this. It's like you get so far in the details that you're putting a number onto every single. Oh my gosh, this doorknob has a ding in it. What's that going to cost? Doesn't matter, man. Come on, let's move on. Let's find the things that we know. We can't miss the big stuff because we're so micro focused. On these small details and being, like you said, being afraid to miss something.
So as far as the big stuff goes that you can't miss, Talk to me a little bit more on that.
Yep. So kind of like when we, we talked in the last couple of episodes on one of those where if you're, whatever checklist you bring with you, we provide that with Rehab Estimator Pro, where you're forced to go down a list to look at things. When you're pulling up to a house as an investor, your eyes are different now. You're not just pulling up and going, oh, this is pretty. Look at that nice front door. And, no, you're looking at the roof. You're looking at the shingles. You're looking at the, chimney to see if it's fallen off or it needs flashing, or, what shape is the siding? Are there broken, chunks out of it? Are there downspouts missing? Or do they even have gutters? What's the driveway look like? What's the front door? Is the porch leaning? Is it sagging? These are the parts, if you get into roof, windows, siding, you're not ignoring, you're not missing. And we'll go through some of that. I got some good exterior stuff, but interior, man, we're not getting lost on, flooring and paint. We know we're going to do all that stuff, but you have to be looking at your mechanicals and, with looking at your electrical panel, your hot water heater, your furnace. These are the big things that you're not missing. You're in a state with, we've got basements, we've got foundations to look at. Those can be massive problems in the Midwest. Okay. So you have to know the area you're in and how to quickly identify problems without measuring the walls. You know what I mean? So we're going to look at some basements today too. And as far as other, big things, of course, you're looking at, hey, what's that kitchen look like? And as we see some of the pictures today as well, hey, this kitchen looks good, sort of from first blush, but, are you really going to, once you get into the project and start making it look pretty, are you really going to leave that backsplash on? Because it looked okay when you walked in the first time. Now it looks terrible. Well, guess what? You just added to your scope of work that you didn't have a number for, So, those things, as far as those big things, not only visually, but getting in, most contractors will never, if we're not going around, if we're looking at 10 houses for the day, let's just say that's happening, which it isn't a lot right now, but we're not bringing ladders and going up into the attic at the first, that might be your inspection, that you come do. So we're not looking at, geez, let's measure the insulation in the attic and see how many inches there are. Okay. We're looking at the big stuff.
In your opinion, why do you not do it that way? I have an opinion here too. I'm curious as far as your perspective.
That's fine. Just because you could say 99 times out of 100, you're going to get caught in the end. I just got one now that we sold it. It didn't even go to market. We had a buyer for it. Okay. It's going to close next week. And on their inspection, inspector says, yep, you're going to need to blow some more insulation in the attic. And I say, okay, great. That's fine. I'd rather have the inspector find something like that, and it's going to cost me less than $1,000, than paying attention to other stuff. Then you're in and out of these houses faster. You really have a feel for it. And how many deals, in essence, are you actually getting based on? And I'll give you a real quick example. Okay. This happened 5 minutes before our call. My short sale negotiator sent me a text message with a picture and said, hey, look who got this house, this probate house, that we didn't get. Okay. Last week. Again, we're going in there. There's 25 investors. He called every single letter and said, you have 1 day to give me a price. They've held this for 2 years. They kept letters for 2 years. Okay. So I'm going in there bidding against all these guys. I'm not going to go crawl around in the attic knowing like, hey, look, here's my numbers. Rehab Estimator Pro. I did it in 5 minutes, printed it out and gave it to him. My numbers in 41,000. I know that's a solid number for where I need to be. Well, the market right now. This wholesaler comes in, they flip everything to the MLS really after just giving it to investors for a week. They've got it listed right now to investors for 95. Okay. So that seller got a lot more money on the table from them because they know they're going to be able to sell it on the MLS versus me flipping it. So I'm not going to waste my time kind of knowing, where I stand in that already. I'm still going to establish rapport. I'm still going to show them how I got my numbers, but I'm not going to deviate from my system.
And then let me add to that, because what he said there was so important. If you're flipping houses, now these numbers can vary, like if you're like a landlord, but 16 offers, 3 negotiations, and 1 deal is a very common metric that you see investors that are flippers go through and do. So if it's a numbers game and you really need to do that many offers and you're spending 3 hours analyzing every single property that you go to,
Right.
and then you're dismissing and not even making an offer on some of you go to because you find too much stuff wrong, right?
Yep.
You can spend your entire year's worth of work just in this kind of trap and only getting to like 10 offers.
Right.
Well, you need you need to get to 16 for 3 negotiations and 1 under contract. So to play the numbers game properly, you absolutely have to. It's essential have a quick, solid way to do this because you cannot afford to spend the time over analyzing these things on the first step.
Yep. That's a great point, man. Well said.
Okay. So, there was a lot there. I had something else that you said.
I know, man. I'm sorry. I just kind of threw up all over.
No, you're good. So, so when you go on the properties, you look for the big things. Let's get into some of the pictures. Hopefully it will come up again because there was something else I wanted to highlight there. And anyway, let's just keep moving.
No problem.
Okay.
So can you see full screen now?
I sure can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So again, I want to go through these and, basically show you, look, and stop me for questions, whenever you want, and I'm going to let you monitor the, if people have questions or raise their hand and want to look at things. Okay. So
yeah, good call, guys. Use that chat feature. I'll be monitoring it.
Yep. So, and again, I'm going to walk through and just kind of show you, hey, look, this is what my eyes see when I walk into these properties. Go, this was a really good house. And these are all recent deals. So, this is, in less than, 2 years for sure. So, this was a really good house, but I get up to the attic and I start seeing some knob and tube up there, which you have to replace. And we can show that also, but that's with the porcelain standoffs, that you see in the wires running through them, in the white holders that are nailed to joists. So that, if it's visible, if you can see it, has to be replaced. Okay. But this is what really alerted me was, wait a second, why do we have 2 attic fans, getting rid of, heat, of course, in the summer? What's going on in this attic? And then also you see all this insulation built up, on the side. They did blow it, but you've got these walkways that go through the whole attic just to get here, which has virtually, 2x6 and 2x8 under with insulation. So you're still losing all of this heat, and, they've built up where they can, but, these are just things that, catch my eye and go, okay, wait a second. Ask the seller, hey, is there a problem in the summer with the amount of, with getting the heat out of this attic? Why this is unusual, to see this. So it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It just means, hey, let's ask some questions. Okay. So, and again, I wouldn't put anything to say, oh my gosh, we're going to have to redo this and that. It's just things that that just kind of alert you and say, okay, like this.
Well, hey, real quick, guys, don't get freaked out by any problem.
Right. Great.
Every problem has a solution. I don't care how bad the foundation is. You can lift the whole house up and pour a brand new foundation. Yep. The only thing is that sometimes the problems, there's not an economical fix to where you it kind of kills the deal, right? But every single problem that you can possibly see can be solved.
That's a great point. So can you see what's going on here? Can you tell me the issue here? I have never seen this before.
Is the tub in the floor?
Yes. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just bizarre. And there's no curtain or anything on it too. So it's literally, and a home, you think about after repair value, if you're going to keep that as a rental, great, who cares, whatever. Right. But, seeing this for the first time, like, that is bizarre. Any seller or buyer coming in is going to look at that and go, why? This isn't normal. My kid can fall in, so that's definitely, you're going to have, some serious plumbing going on there, because that's not going to be accepted. Now, maybe you turn it into a shower base, great, but still, that's something that you're going to tear everything out and get into. And then in the other bathroom, now they've got a door on it. Okay. But same exact issue. Who knows if it was a really big house. So, this could be like, eccentricity. I don't know. Maybe that was the design they wanted, but, for those 2 that have not seen some of this, I'm just going to go from real basic to advanced as well, Jim. So, you see these stickers you get in a house, it's been winterized, you know that, you're in a situation where, obviously it's vacant, but the bank has come in. It's typically the bank that has, winterized that property.
Okay. So real quick, go back there. So these 2 bathrooms, when you're on your Estimator Pro or like when you're looking at it,
Yep.
do you do like a full bath like replacement, and then do you factor in some extra money for plumbing?
Yep, that's great, because if you see this,
how do you do that?
Yeah, you can see some of the, the cabinets are terrible, the flooring is terrible. You can see it kind of lifts up. There's a big grout joint, but it's still old. This whole thing needs to come out. So it's going to be a full bath done easily. But then you're right. I am gonna, like, say it's at 100% for a full bath. I'm gonna bump it up to either 120 or 150%. Just I'm not going to get lost again on, oh my gosh, I wonder how much that's going to cost. I'm just going to increase my number. Okay.
Just by 150%.
Right.
So hopefully we'll have time and you can kind of show us at the end, like what that looks like. Hey, so Bryant just chatted in the box. He says he's actually seen this really in a couple houses in North County and Baldwin here in St. Louis. I've never actually seen it. So
right.
I guess more than one person's done this before.
That's awesome. I love it, man. I love you sharing that, because that I have never seen this, and to hear that it's in another state as well. Like, I mean, it's that is just bizarre, and
then we did. So Nancy asked, as far as back to the attic.
Yep.
So what was like the situation as far as like, what did they end up telling you what was going on, and did you have to do anything about it?
Well, I hate saying it like this, but this is one of those deals where this is how you assume when somebody calls you and talks to you about something, or you're there, they're going to lie to you. Okay. Like, I hate saying that, because I don't do that with all of humanity, but they're always going to tell you that it's worth more than it is. And they're always going to tell you, oh, it doesn't need much, it's fine. We don't really need to, repair anything. And you get in the house and you're like, what? According to what? Hey, have you seen some of these TV shows? So in that case, that ended up being a rental. In the end, that was the best move for it. And so they just said, yes, gets super hot. They don't have air conditioning. They try to cool off the house that way. And then they open their mouths like, oh yeah. And, we got a lot of problems with them. Sometimes they work, there's some electrical issues. So now they're hanging themselves, going, okay. So I said, well, geez, how much do you think that's going to cost for me to, fix? I'm going to have to get an electrician in here and maybe replace this, maybe, add some attic vents, so they're basically telling me, yes, you need to put some money in here to fix this. So, but again, not a big deal, nothing to be scared of, like you said, Jim.
All right, cool. So keep chatting away, guys, as we go through this. Okay, so now we're on an electrical panel. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this.
You're gonna see through different, again, I didn't group them all, just kind of keep it mixed up. You're gonna see different, electrical panels, good and bad, as we go through here. But I just want you to, it can be, it's not hard, but I want, when you see things and when we see different panels, we can kind of, yell out and say, yeah, replace, yeah, don't replace. I'm going to take a picture and send it to my electrician. Okay. So something like this, when you see this, this is the main, okay, there's no breaker there. Okay. This is a slide in box. And if you read it right here, to disconnect service, remove fuses. Okay, wait a second. Fuses. Well, that's not something that we're going to accept in the end. All right. Even though there's breakers down here, when you have push button stuff, and this, you shouldn't see, red here is uncommon. I don't want to go into explaining what it is, but when you say for best operation, pull or push with quick, sudden motion. Well, that doesn't sound like, if I were to pull this out, yes, you're going to see a connection where it's fuses. So I'm automatically looking at this panel and going, nope. Replace the panel. Done. No question. Don't overanalyze it. No need to send a picture to the electrician. You're replacing the panel. Okay. End of story. That's not typical. And you don't see it in your own house. So this is a picture of, oh, that's interesting. Did it just stop for you?
We just lost your share. So go ahead and
so let me get those,
grab it back.
So this was a we'll go here and we'll get right back on this picture. I was showing you a picture of a beam in the basement, which I'll get into right now. Let me start to share again. All right. That was odd that it just, there's the photos. Okay. All right. Can you see that now?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So let me get into full screen. Okay. So when you see this beam in the, see how it's tied to the rafter up above? This is something that they've already fixed where the walls were coming in, the basement walls. And so, when you already see that there's been a problem, again, nothing to be alarmed about, but just know that they've had repairs. So it's perfectly okay for you to ask about that. Hey, what was going on here? Did you have a professional company do this? Do you have a lifetime warranty that's transferable? Okay. They should have had a basement licensed contractor to do this. Now they've done this right. You see the bolts, you see the large beam. They're not real skinny. So, that's something that I look at and go, okay, there was a problem. All right. It looks like it's fixed. Nothing to be alarmed about in this one, but it's something for you to see as a visual and go, okay, there's been repairs here.
So, and the thing with the foundations, there's many times if the work's done really well, from a logical standpoint, the foundation may actually be stronger than a brand new construction's foundation. So here's the thing though, is buyers buy on emotion, and you can emotionally be scared. A lot of buyers will emotionally be scared of a foundation repair. Yep. So what that means is there's kind of an art to like, okay, there's been some pretty massive foundation repairs. The percentage of buyers, my buyer pool is going to be smaller than if it didn't have those repairs. So I may have to give a better price on the ARV because of this. I've seen some houses with foundation stuff go for full ARV, and I've seen others go for maybe 75, even 80%, like on the far negative end of things. So that's something to be aware of. And kind of the rule of thumb that I like to do on it as far as the ARV goes, guys, is I like to look at the other house's features. And is there some kind of sizzle features? Like, is the location phenomenal? Is the school district phenomenal? Does the house have other features that are really, really cool? In that case, I kind of will dock the ARV a little bit less. But if there's really nothing else that is that special about the house, you might be talking a little bit more on the ARV. So Matt, what have you done in your experience with foundation repairs, and what do you do for the ARV since you've been doing this a long time too?
Yeah, that's a great point. It depends on if you see this job is done extremely well. Okay. You see the solid iron that they've put up. Okay. You generally do not see it, and they welded it all together. So this was done very well. So I would not be scared of this at all. Okay. Now it is perfectly fine to do nothing with that ARV. If you look at this, and you can even get it inspected if you wanted early, but to say, hey, look, here's the company, here's the transferable warranty, and now I'm going to finish this as a rec room, and I have no problems. You're not covering something up. You're not hiding something. Now, you've got scabbed contractors and investors out there that will cover up problems because they don't want to deal with them, and those guys need to go away. Okay. But if you've had the repairs and it's leaking and it's a certified warranty, I have no problem putting studs and drywall and electric and insulation over that and finishing that area, because that was the purpose. And then I'm not scaring my homeowners, and I'm also creating another usable space.
So we did get an extra question from Scott. Thanks for chatting in, Scott. Appreciate you, man. What about providing a letter from a structural engineer?
Yep, it'll cost you anywhere from $400 to $700. So, and that's fine. Right now, they're so extremely busy that it's all about time frame to do that. But if you were to call somebody and just say, we have a guy called Gendusa Engineering, and if I call him up and just say, hey man, $500, come out here, and all I need you to do is write a report to say that this was done correctly, and you'll stamp it. It's going to cost you $500 for an engineer stamp. So, and that's a great idea, Scott. So, yep, it's a great idea. So here was another one.
Hey guys, for those of you that are local to St. Louis, I wanted to make sure you knew about an amazing resource that we have to help do some extra deals. You can email our team at deals@3doors.com. And just so you know, we do deals with other investors all the time. Like, it's been hundreds and hundreds over the years, and we've averaged over 100 deals with other investors per year for over the last 5 years. We can straight up buy the deal if you have a wholesale under contract that you want to sell. If you need funding to finance a flip, or like you're doing a burst strategy, we have funding available for you. If you're trying to wholesale a deal, we're doing JV wholesale deals with other wholesalers that, quite frankly, some of the deals we're putting together for a beginner or an intermediate investor, they'd probably be walking away from, because we have systems and processes, and we have buyers in place that are paying top dollar for these properties. So make sure you use this resource. And the best way to get and the easiest way is to just send us an email, deals@3doors.com. All right, back to the episode.
Here was another one. Now, this ended up being a rental, but as you know, I didn't know this was here. I get up into the upstairs. The house is in great shape. It's a great house. But then I look out back and go, oh no, there's appears to be is above ground pool, but they sunk it in, but it really is a little bigger. So it's an underground, but man, this thing's been a mess. The liner's all torn up, and don't discount this. Kind of like tearing a house down. People go, the fire department will tear that down for free. No, they're not going to do that. Okay. That's not going to happen in most cases. So when you have a pool like this, know that for me as a rental, if the Google Earth photos my insurance guy is going to pull up, I'm going to carry some massive liability, okay, with that monstrosity. Am I going to fix the pool? No, I'm not going to provide a pool for tenants, all right, and then carry that responsibility of chemicals and liability. So here's the deal. You need to fill that sucker in, and that's going to cost you some money. So that's going to be something that, again, you have to attach a number to. You're going to get numbers all over the board. So in this case, I'm going to add easily up to $5,000, because the cost of fill and trucks hauling it in an excavator on site is not going to be. Don't be throwing $500 to $1,000 on something that is going to turn into much greater project than you think it is.
So, and again, like, just to be repetitive on this, like, don't let something like this scare you from an offer. You make the offer, budget $5,000, maybe add 5 days to your contingency period. Make sure you get, if you don't already have that relationship, make sure you get 2 or 3 guys out there to give you bids on filling it in. Once you get the property under contract, that's really the order. That's the order to do it, guys. Okay.
And of course, this seller told me, oh yeah, it's great. We just put new pump in and this and that. And I'm going, okay, thank you. Yep. No, thank you. So this was a house that we completely gutted to studs. And it's just one of those things that I want you to see. Oh, look, there's my book right there too with them. Came in here. If you notice, these are the kind of things that there's nothing wrong here outside, because we're going to get this. But when you get into a design issue, do you see that this is the kitchen? And here's the old, full cast iron sink. There wasn't a cabinet in this kitchen for 70 years, okay, through several owners, not one. And do you see the worst thing that you could possibly have here is the only bathroom in the house is through the kitchen, okay? So just thinking about that stuff while you're looking at a house, you're not just there going, okay, check the list. Yep, roof, plumbing, yep, new kitchen, yep, new bath. Wait a second. How many people are going to want to go in there and do their business while, people are sitting at the table, you know what I mean? Toilets are flushing. And so you have to look at that and go, you're not there to redesign the entire thing, but what are the possibilities? What can we do here? Now, what we ended up doing was stocking this kitchen with a huge U-shape that was never possible before because of the design, but we blocked this all off, built a double wall and insulated it, and then put the the door where the sink is and came through this hallway here to get into it. So you still had that shared space, but it was then we could keep all the plumbing there. And it was a huge hit. It was great. So even though the bathroom was still there, you didn't have to walk through the kitchen to use it. So we brought all the kitchen over here, behind, and then used this as a hallway to get to the bathroom.
And that's a real big key too, guys, is just the little details on the function and the flow of the house. Whenever you can take something that's like a detriment and a negative and turn it into something that's like a good, nice positive, that's a big deal. There's a lot of value out there. There's a lot of profit when you do that right, as a flipper as well.
Yep, that was that same one. This was really just to show you, just coming in as a visual again. Okay, we're going to redo this bathroom, but also the wallpaper that can really hurt you if it's a really old house on plaster. And you can see here, I may have pulled that down a little because some was already missing, but to see if that comes off easy or not, whether or not you can kind of get a fingernail at a seam or something, but just don't let that be something that you go, the whole house is wallpapered, no problem. We'll tear that up. You may have just cost yourself anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 if you cannot. So I have seen contingencies that investors have used just to say, hey, I'd really like to get my painter in there and just do a couple of test areas to see what it's going to take to get this wallpaper off, because that really could hurt you, to be honest. Even though you visually look at this and go, no problem, we'll just tear that off quick.
So I love that you have that picture there. So the danger is you start peeling it off. It's a plaster wall. The plaster starts peeling, and you either have to completely refinish the plaster or yank out the plaster and put drywall back in. And
yep. And even worse,
scratch.
Here's the worst thing and it happens very often. There's no sizing on this so that it comes off. You will never tear that off the plaster. You have to use the Paper Tiger, the Zinsser product, where it scores it. You run it around in a circle, and you have to perforate the paper, then steam it, and then scrape it, and then plaster all, skim coat all the walls. So you could have weeks in there just taking paper off with a steamer and a Paper Tiger versus it just peeling right off. And then you're probably still going to have to skim coat the walls.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, that looks kind of okay. Maybe we'll just keep the wallpaper, right?
Right. I mean, you know what the funny part is that you say that, Jim? Because I've done this myself. I'm not going to lie. There are great products out there that you can actually go right over it and actually make it look like a finished wall. If it's in perfect condition, there's no peeling seams. Honestly, you save yourself a lot of headache by going. You can make it look like a fully painted wall. So we're going to go through some of these water heaters too, and a kind of, again, a yay or nay. If you see right here, I don't know how well you can see it, but it says O2. A lot of times you're looking, instead of trying to read every detail on these, you're going to have a service record, and most guys will put a Sharpie or something on it that says when it was installed. If I'm seeing O2, okay, on a water heater, it's leaving. Plus, notice right away, this is galvanized pipe as well. So you can see where they've added copper to galvanized. Whenever you put two metals together, that is going to react, and it's going to be corrosive. So it's going to start eating itself away. So they did what they could as far as like, well, let's replace this and that. There's a new gas line, but this is galvanized as for drains, and this is galvanized for supply lines. So automatically I'm saying. And
is it just the color? Is that how you're doing it? Or like, what are you?
Yep. Like, when you see the silver with the screwed in connections, and I thank you for the questions, Jim, because a lot of times I just assume too much because I've seen this for so many years. So yeah, when you see these screwed in connections, kind of like a gas pipe, but it's silver, then you automatically know that's galvanized. Okay. And then this, obviously you got a solder joint with the copper that's in there.
And the water heater's life cycle, what do you typically see in water heaters?
Well, hey man, back in grandma's house, they used to last 25 years. Now you're lucky to get 7 to 8 years out of them. So, and that's the same thing with dehumidifiers. I swear they last 12 months. They, you remember grandma's dehumidifier? It looked like it was from, World War II that, this thing survived. It's all rusty, but it still works, right? Water heater or dehumidifiers, you get a year to 2 years, and water heaters, 7 to 8 years, I say on those.
Gotcha.
But just know that you're going to replace water lines, PEX. We'll show some pictures of that as well. So, real quick stuff like this, when you're looking, you're doing a quick visual, you can see all the old wood, even though they put vinyl in a new roof on, there's a lot of lipstick going on here because you've got, the old windows, leaded windows. You've got they're painted on the outside, and up here, this is a big no-no, all chipping paint. So, that's all lead paint, on this porch and everything else. They may have added some lipstick, the new lattice, but you are scraping and painting all these windows and the soffit.
Yeah. So talk to me about lead when you see the lead paint. And really, I mean, my take is it's just really when it's chipping is when you kind of just assume it's lead, correct?
That is correct.
As far as the abatement process goes, how do you handle that, or like how do you even factor that in for repairs?
So two different, there is an abatement, on Rehab Estimator Pro, but it's also something that when you see this, just know, like, especially an FHA inspection, any chipping paint at all, I don't care if it's new, if it was put on the wrong surface, can't have it. You'll get flagged on it. So, but like this siding, that, if there was, the wood siding and they put vinyl over it, if you encapsulate it, it's fine. You can't. So if you're putting, a vinyl, a soffit or different on here, otherwise you are getting a painting contractor in there that is going to do that abatement for you. You can't just get out here with a scraper, and do this, but you can have, and you do have to check your areas. I'll tell you, in my area in Wisconsin, there is a lead abatement permit or a license that you can get. And so then you have to go do classes and you can get that. Listen, you're not going to go get your license. You're going to find a guy, that does that if they require it, and then get it done. So,
and that's the thing on problems like these, guys, like if you go through the right process, you have the paperwork. I used a professional that was certified at lead abatement. You can create, when you get to the disclosure statement, you have to disclose that there was lead paint when you know that there's lead paint, right? If you fully solve the problem, it's not going to impact in this case, like this would not impact your ARV at all.
Right.
Let's say you try and hide the problem.
Yep.
Don't do it right and kind of skimp out a little bit. That can really come back and bite you for like thousands and thousands of dollars. I've seen it happen way too many times to kind of, something like this to kind of just try and cut a corner on. So I'd highly recommend you not.
Yep, for sure, man. And that's it's typical. We see it a lot. And this was in Illinois as well. So, you're taking a massive risk, because they've got people scouting all the time too in this. So this was the same house. So I was just going to do this real quick. You see this, my visual inspection outside, it looks like new block, they've got the cap on it. I mean, it looks great, right? The other side is where it was flashed, but no, just kind of notice when you're walking in the door where that chimney is, because this is it. There's just plaster over this. It was actual drywall, but this was not a big deal. It was not a big problem. It's superficial, but it was a flashing problem. And I got a deep discount on it because it looks so bad, but it was just surface. It was just replacing the drywall and fixing the flashing, and it was done real easy. So it was just water coming through, and this is where it escaped, because this was all brick behind after, they glued drywall to it. So, and that was the problem, but looks scary, right? But not a big deal. It's just surface repairs and getting that flashing right on top. Other than that, the whole house had.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Yep. So again, here, this is a common issue, and we'll see another one like this that is bad, but this was a rental. And so one of the things that you're going to see in a lot of these older homes that a good idea, man, as I'm looking at this and going, okay, I'm going to just put not only a curtain on the front of this thing, because there is a shower head, but I'm putting a curtain on the back, whether it's right on the window or across, because you've got a wood window in a bathroom in a tub with a shower head. Okay. Now it may look nice now that, they've gotten it all ready for you because they're selling it, but that you put a renter in there, what do you think that's going to look like in 6 months? So just be aware, there's no repairs or anything in here, but just kind of those, it's again, identifying those things when you walk in a house and go, that's a bad idea.
Have you ever just said the heck with it and just replace the wood window with like some blocks or something?
Yeah, all the time, but I only do that in flips. So otherwise, with a man, if it's a rental, shower curtain solves that. And then my guys do inspections every 90 days. They're going to look at stuff like that, make sure that thing's still up and the water's not getting in there. Cause you're tearing out everything. Now you're affecting the exterior and that finish, when you're putting the glass block, because you still have the wood trim. So you have to address that, as well.
So is the curtain kind of designed in a way to where it's kind of difficult for them to like move it and kind of
right. I put up a fixed rod from wall to wall in the back. Okay. So, and then have that full shower curtain, just like there'd be a curtain on the front of this thing. And that's it.
Yeah. That reminds me of like the tip I've heard a lot of landlords do, cause they want to avoid, that midnight call or like an 11, like a call like, hey, I'm locked out. I can't get in. I locked myself out. They don't want to deal with that. So what they only have deadbolts. Right. And then they have like the bottom doesn't have a lock, so like you can't physically lock yourself out if you don't have the key in that case. Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, I mean, like in real estate, it's really powerful to be a fire preventer, not a firefighter. So what Matt's done is he's created a system on his rentals to not have to pay the extra money to replace the window and not have it be a problem moving forward.
Yep, because you're just keeping that water off. So this was actually the same house, and when you're looking through main systems, you're going to be in the basement. You're going to see a gas meter, typically on the outside. This was on the inside, which was okay. It's fine. But if you see here, there's another couple of pictures where we show and I'll start trying to move a little faster here, but. Water meters. Okay. We'll look at a couple more, but if you see here, there was no water meter. They connected a pipe direct. Okay. And then I found out from the city, they told me, the water's been turned off for 15 years there. And I'm going, really? Because the whole house has been completely replumbed and all new bathrooms and kitchen, and it's been going for years. And so I'm starting to go, okay, sure. What kind of problem am I having here now? Because they did a direct connection and it's been like that for years. So they were getting away with something that I may or may not. And again, not to raise alarms or flags. It's just something that I saw and went, that doesn't look right. And so then you realize there's no water meter. So it's worth just asking a question about. So
what did you decide to do on that situation? Did you buy it and then just disclose it, or did you just buy it and kind of let it run till they figured it out?
I bought it, told the utility company, hey man, you need to come. I don't know what happened here. I bought this house. It's a rental property and not sure what happened here, but I bought it as is, and I need you to come put a meter on it. And that was it. Didn't raise any flags or concerns or anything like that. So it worked out real well. So, looking at this, just kind of a, yay or nay. We're going to see a bathroom one as well, but a term that, you can sound real knowledgeable, have some experience with your contractors when you walk in. This is called a Hootie Rim. Okay. So that's the metal around that. It's a cast iron sink, and it sits right on top of the vinyl. It's kind of like having their version of having an undermount sink and a granite top, right? Where you can just kind of push stuff on, even though there is a lip. It doesn't allow you to push it in, but that's called a Hootie Rim. So it's just interesting. I mean, if you write that down and use that, I mean, if you're talking to your plumbers, you're going to sound like, yeah, you've been in the game for a long time. Like, wow, man, haven't seen a Hootie Rim in a long time, so just a little side note, but this kitchen's a turd. They did these in the 70s for a while. These plastic tiles. So, you can see some of them off. There's glue behind them, but that's just all garbage has got to come off. It's not ceramic. You can kind of tap it with your fingernail and see there's no grout joints. So, but you're going to have a skim coating mess with drywall because it's all glue on the back. So just something else that I'm looking at and seeing here. Nobody wants this. This is in an upstairs area. So you got this raised toilet literally hugging the sink. So in this case, man, you may not be able to fix that. So you just really have to determine, this is a bathroom that, you think about your kid stepping down from that and then falling, in the end of the night, like I'm going to have to get into either the floor joist and redo this or the ceiling below, and knowing that.
Do you remember on this one, like what the case was, why they had it raised?
It was a quick, easy solution that they could just add the whole bathroom, above the floor. Okay. So, and that was them adding a bath in the attic without, all the work was done on top of the floor, and then just running that pipe all the way down on the exposed wall. So that was the issue below. So either get rid of it or do it right. You're going to have to open ceilings below or joists from above. And the easiest solution for this is running it below the ceiling underneath and then putting a soffit up, so that you're hiding it in the ceiling below, not on the floor above. But again, little things that you run into and just go, we're not going to redo that and put new tile on it. Not going to happen.
So will you, all right, actually keep going.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep rolling. This is nothing special. Just looking at a new, PVC P-trap. This was just a flag. You have this cast iron drains, coming in, which are not a problem. You're not going to tear that all out every time unless you see something, some foul play going on. And as soon as I saw this foam and different glues that, I've been seeing, it's like, we're going to put PVC in there. We're going to add something for our plumbing. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be something that we just go, we're just going to replace what's there. Okay. This typical, you got a rehabber that started this, or actually probably the homeowner in this case, or they thought, this is going to be great, we're going to put new tile in. And then they leave this horrible, the old tubs in there, the tiles on the floor, tiles on the wall. Man, if you can't, you're going to have to spray this thing. You're never going to get that looking new again. You're going to have this new house. So you're either tearing the tile off and tearing the tub out, or you're going to spray this with enamel. So don't look over those things, because you see something like this and you're going to go, that's never going to look right. It's never going to come out clean.
So I got it. There was another point I wanted to make earlier. And
okay.
When you get down the rabbit hole of redoing some things and not other things, just be warned. The thing you thought looked good when it's next to something brand new,
right?
9 out of 10 times does not look good anymore. So just a fair warning. I've been down that rabbit hole many times trying to save some money. And then the feedback you get from buyers is like, great bathroom, but that vanity sucks. And it was like, well, I thought the vanity was good.
We did. We talked about that a little bit, but that's one of those things. So
boy.
Yeah, this was a firehouse. So, man, sometimes it's like, just walk. There is nothing salvageable here. So walk away, man, or gut it to studs. You're not fixing that. So this kitchen definitely kind of just want to show you like, hey, what are you going to do here? You've got the old, wood looking laminate. These cabinets, they're actually in really good shape, so don't just always look at something and go, tear it all out, new kitchen. These are definitely, they're plywood slabs, but they're really good shape, man. And they were done well. So we're definitely going to be painting some of these, they've already added some new hardware to, on everything, doors and drawers, but you can easily replace tops with granite and paint these. Take the valance down. That's nobody's.
And the exit strategy and the location is like the vision for the property is so important too, right? Like,
oh yeah, so much.
Like if this home was in an area where the land values like makes it worth $500,000, even though it's like an 800 square foot home, or or like something like, so in our area, $500,000 is a really nice house. You may be needing to gut the whole thing, but if it's like a rental property, like completely okay, right? So in this particular property, was it a rental, or like what type of price point are we talking?
Say it again.
Do you remember this property?
Yep.
What did you end up doing on it?
Oh yeah, we ended up painting and putting a really nice backsplash with granite on it, and it first offer sold, done, full offer. It was fantastic. It was a great house in South Milwaukee, and you can only do so much sometimes. You can't, scope creep will kill you. So only do so much. Real quick, don't be scared of stuff especially with pets, when you get into refinishing hardwood floors. You don't have to get crazy about, oh my gosh, this looks terrible, we're gonna have to tear it out. Man, a tip and trick for all of us as remodelers, you go with like a Jacobine or some kind of darker stain, and it'll cover up, all the pet stuff and the stains after they sand it down. Don't be scared of it. Put a dark stain on trust your floor guys if they're good.
Is there so cat urine's the worst, right?
Yep.
Does it have a different smell to it, or like how do you know when it's cat urine?
When it's cat urine when you're standing in the driveway and you almost throw up. So no, that is an offensive odor that it's funny because I have a student sitting in my office right now and he's laughing because his first house was a cat house and it was overwhelming. I have no idea how I've been in so many cat houses this year, but what we have found, and it's a great question because this is what we have found the absolute best. And every house is different depending on. In the last house that we just did, that's the same one that's selling next week, we had to go in and spray everything, even drywall, with lacquer. Okay. Spray it with lacquer. You bag everything off and spray it with lacquer. That will literally encapsulate and seal everything. Okay. So I've heard some guys say they use concrete sealer out of a pump thing, but I haven't tried. I'm not going to experiment on a house.
So Matt, when you smell cat urine, do you get excited because that's the smell of money for you?
I used to tell people that until I've had too much of it, man. We all say, now here's the deal. After you do a really bad cat house, the first thing is it's like childbirth, man. Never doing that again. Okay. Until the next deal comes along. Ooh, this could be a good one. Yep.
So every problem has a solution, guys.
But I'll tell you this, another quick tip, like the lacquer. Most people miss this. I have no idea why, but cats love, if you have a peeing cat, like most shouldn't, they should be using a litter box, right? But when you get a problem with 70 cats in the house, because they pee in the floor registers, okay, on the exterior walls. And so if you get up and open that or see them in the basement, they're completely rusted out and that urine has traveled all the way down. So every time you turn that furnace or air on and it's a duct system, you're never going to get rid of that smell. So we actually ripped out all the ductwork in this last house and replaced it. And that's how we got rid of the final smell. So I can show you an after picture of this as well. We won't get into the weeds here too much, but
hey, Matt, real quick, let's do this picture. And we're kind of at time here.
Okay.
I do want you to pull up Rehab Estimator Pro.
Yep.
As well, just for like a quick, if it's okay with everybody's permission, we're going to go just an extra 5 minutes today. Because I'm curious on a couple of like how you would handle. So there was the bathroom that was like raised. Okay, yep. I'd like to see you do that in Rehab Estimator Pro. And then we were talking a little bit about that lead paint, like how you kind of would do that as well. So I'm kind of curious on those two scenarios.
All right, so I am going to go right here and share. I just got off this call with this guy who came to the speaker training that we were at with Sean McCloskey. And I went through his deal. I should have recorded this, Jim, because you can't get more textbook than this. When we came down to his number and his offer, I made him disclose the numbers first separately to show his offer was $70,000. And this is exactly what our cash offer showed with his repair costs in it. So I'm just showing you this because this is what I had up. So I'll kind of run through. I'm going to use this one just because I just had it up and we just went through this property. So when you come to interior here and we have a bathroom, and we put in that it's one full bath, so it's going to automatically show up as a $4,600. Okay. You can come now. That's a very unique problem. We don't want you to get lost, like we said, especially even in here with going too far. So if you see something where like the quick, easy, if you see something, hey man, we're gonna have to tear this out and redo this plumbing here. I have no problem going in, like we said before, when it comes to the percentages that we're adding, like you see this kitchen going up 150%. But with the bathroom, I would have no problem doubling that, knowing that I have to run all new plumbing to the basement. Okay. In that. All right. Again, you're getting yourself close. If I go into others, this is where I don't want to lose people in this, especially if you're new. I don't want you to try to figure out what that plumbing would cost to go. I don't want you to figure out what that soffit would cost. Okay. You just know that it's real fast and easy for me to double that number or make sure I add something to it.
Can you do like a 1.5?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
You can. And in a situation like that, Jim, since you're not going to see that hardly ever, you may never see that again. If you call, like, this is the best, the power of the group, right? If you have somebody that while you're in that house, you can send a picture to your plumber because you've used enough, or your contractor, or even call someone in your network with 3 doors or a more experienced flipper, or, guys, you have, like you talked about in the beginning, Jim, with mastermind groups, your network, man, you've got to be able to have people in that circle that you can drop a quick call to and say, hey, bro, I'm sitting here looking at this house. Can I FaceTime you right now and just show you, hey, what should I do with this bathroom? What do you think? Okay. That's then you're throwing the guesswork out, because in a lot of these things, you're not going to have an exact, hey, by the way, if you find a toilet that's elevated, here's what it's going to cost. Okay. We're not going to have that, but this is where it breaks down.
And again, with the fear element, right?
Correct.
Put a 2 in there or a 1.5 in there. No, and give yourself the inspection contingency, and know that you're, if you underestimated and like the contractor gets there, that's the expert, and the plumber gets there and they're like, no, like, because the way the walls are situated, we're going to have to run the plumbing all the way to the other side of the house or do something crazy. It's going to be like 10 grand and you thought it was going to be like 6. Well, okay. Well, you have that inspection contingency and you can renegotiate at that time. Or you can use the inspection contingency to back out of the contract, and you're still protected.
Yeah. Great point, man. And it is. It's one of the, do not let that fear, like we keep saying, stop you or prevent you from, if you're going to throw something at it, it's fine. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to. You're covering for what you see and what you feel is going to do that. And it's no problem to tell a seller, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you the fairest number I possibly can. But in order for me to do that, I just need to check on this one thing. Okay. Just to,
and honestly, like, that's another thing we've used before too. Like now this is a more experienced tactic, right? But hey, this offer, I know I'm getting a good deal. I don't even need a full inspection period. What I need is to make sure that the bid for the plumbing comes in at $5 grand or less.
Yep.
If the bid comes in higher than that, we're going to have to renegotiate, Mr. Homeowner, or I may have to terminate the contract. But I'm not sure about this. I know enough to know I don't know. And I need to, I hope it's okay with you, but I need to make sure that this one thing gets resolved from a professional set of eyes. And so, like, there's ways to even do that as well.
Right. Let's take it on the flip side too. And I know we got to cut off here, but let's take it on the flip side, Jim. Say you got that property in the contract and it was really, that was it. Bottom line, man. Hey, I put $5 grand in there and this is his bottom line. But I got the house. I'm coming to my plumber next now and saying, hey, here's the deal, man. I had $5 grand in the budget for this. I need you to make it happen. Okay. You don't even ask him what it's going to cost. You just tell him, hey, I need this to happen for this much. How can you make this happen? Don't even ask him. It's how you got to work sometimes with these guys. So
yeah, and if you have the relationship, sometimes they'll work with you too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's putting the ball in their court, and now they want to do it. They want to value engineer that for you, and just say, well, I guess we could do it this way, and we could make that work, or whatever, however that looks, you're putting yourself in control, having the confidence. And if that's not the guy, then bring another guy in and tell him you'll get it done. So,
all right, guys. Well, Matt, I really appreciate it. That Rehab Estimator Pro is an amazing tool. I think I think there's like a free trial even for it for 3 Doors members. Do you remember like what the code was for it?
Yep. 3 doors, man. Write it up.
Now it's the number 3, I think, right?
Yep.
The number 3, not THREE, the number 3 doors. And what is it's rehabestimatorpro.com. Is that right?
You got it. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend that. The tool's awesome. It works very well from like an iPad. You can get it all done in a couple minutes. He's done a couple other trainings that we have in recording. If you want to see a more in-depth look into that, by all means, visit the replays as well. But it's an amazing tool, saves a lot of time, and it's remarkably accurate. Like it gets you there. I mean, nothing's going to be 100% perfect because we're not 100% perfect and we're the ones entering the data in, right? But it's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with no experience, man. And again, I have so many that, have massive experience using it, as well as so many newbies and wholesalers, just because it's something that in order to scale your business, you have to have systems in place to do this, man. You have to be able to train other people to do it and not have to transfer all of your wisdom and skills and experience every single time, because you're going to go through people.
Absolutely. So check out Matt on Rehab Estimator Pro. If you type in 3 doors, the number 3 doors, there's a free trial and like a discount. And I think it's reasonable too. Like, what's the monthly on it?
Yeah. For your guys and 3 doors, it's less than $30 a month.
Yeah. So it's very reasonable. It's not breaking the bank or anything like that. And, I think, if you value your time, and like you want to make $50, $100, $200 an hour, like whatever your goals are, something that can save you 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour per property that you look at, you get that ROI back just looking at 1 or 2 houses. You get that back. So, Matt, well, I really appreciate it. Thanks for pouring into the group. Okay, so that's a wrap, guys. To find everything on this episode and additional resources, go to doorstodeals.com/034. And just an FYI, if you live in St. Louis, one of the best resources for those of you here is that you can send us an email at deals@3doors.com, and we can help you with your wholesale deals. We can help you sell them in lightning speed and get top dollar for them. If you need cash to put together deals, we also have a great resource that you can find on 3doorsfunding.com. And then finally, for you agents out there, don't forget, check out our 5 to 5 million challenge, where we show you how to attract 5 relationships into your business that will generate you $5 million of sales a year like clockwork. The link to this challenge can be found on doorstodeals.com/034 as well. So, all right, guys, go out, live your purpose, and above all else, go after your dreams. Till next time. Thanks for tuning into this show. For more episodes and resources that will unlock Doors to Deals, check out our website, doorstodeals.com.